Well, hi again, and welcome to Coffee with Craig. I'm Craig Hamilton Parker. I'm a psychic medium, and I train my psychic vision on what's happening in the world at the moment. And here we have a chat and a discussion about what's going on. And my goodness, there's so many unusual things happening, so many things happening in the background that we don't hear about on the mainstream news. So today we're going to have a look at some of the fundamental issues that are perhaps not being spoken about on the main news, and give some of my psychic insights about what's going on. A few psychic predictions coming up for you today. So welcome to Coffee with Craig. Well, thanks for joining the show again. And as I always say to you, please give it a thumbs up every time you come here. It helps the algorithm tremendously. And if you're here for the first time, please do subscribe, even if you don't agree with what I say. It's really quite interesting, this show. Some of the ideas that are thrown up, particularly when we get your input through the comments section of this site, I suppose it is, on this YouTube page. Okay, so I think I'm breaking the show up nowadays into sort of little sections, and you've got some more interesting little sections coming up. But most of you like the predictions, so I'm going to give you the predictions at the top of the show. So if you just want to watch the predictions, that's fine. But then we're going to have a chat about some of the things that's going on in the world. I've got some interesting psychic readings coming up as well, and other bits and pieces that I think you'll find interesting. So if you do like the format of the show that I'm doing at the moment, please also let me know all about that in the comments too. So I think breaking it up a little bit gives you a chance maybe to sometimes watch this in sections too, if we've got a long show. Okay, some of the predictions, first of all, get straight into those for you. Okay, so these are some of my predictions for today. I get these predictions during the week, and I scribble things down, and sometimes they're unusual dreams, and sometimes they're sort of flashes of vision, and things come to me at all sorts of times, particularly after meditation periods and things like that. But this particular first one that I want to talk about was a bit strange to me, really, because I was with, I think it was Benjamin Franklin that the story was about, who flew the kite in the storm with the silk thread to as a sort of both a symbol and a story, and a reference about how electricity works, I suppose, and things like that. So I thought, well, what's all this about? And actually, in the vision, it wasn't Benjamin Franklin; it was George Washington who was holding the kite in the electric storm. So I thought, well, what does that mean? What does that? That's a sort of kind of very odd, strange kind of. It was kind of not quite. I wasn't asleep. I wasn't awake. It just sort of flashed to me, and I thought, is this some kind of story being told to me? What is it? And I thought, oh, but it's something big coming out of Washington soon. My thoughts were right. There must be something coming out of Washington. What is it? Is it more about Epstein? Is something revealed? And I had this really strange feeling that something big was going to be revealed. And then soon after, I not long after, an hour or so after, a video was sent to me by somebody of the what's going on in Washington at the moment with what the release made by Tulsi Gabbard. And my thoughts are, that's what my vision or dream was telling me. It was something about this big, huge release, something huge electrical that's been released from Washington. And of course, what it is, of course, is this idea, this thought that's come up now that they're talking about. Hardly a thought. I mean, it's a revelation, really, about a year-long coup against Trump that was um, set up, really, I suppose, by the CIA, on John Brennan and Obama in particular, and pushed forward to suppress information, to hide information about the psychological state of Hillary Clinton. She was described as being psycho-emotional problems and things like this, to give the impression that Russia was there trying to sway the election in Trump's favor, and lots of secret information revealed about the Clinton Russian con, really, that was going on for nearly a year to sway the election in 2000 and when were we 2016, wasn't it? And just a whole load of false information revealed that seems to have at first glance quite a strong sort of factual evidence to back this up. And so this is really interference on a massive scale, isn't it? This is really quite massive to me. It's massive, irrefutable evidence they're talking about of this, and the suppression of the intelligence that was out there, something that was there to subvert the will of the electorate. And I mean, this is huge, really, in my opinion. Huge, because not only is this happening in the USA, but it's also happening here in the UK and throughout Europe as well. It's beginning to become very clear to us that the things we see on the mainstream news are nothing to do with what's really going on in the world. I mean, this was said in released from Washington, but not a single word of it I saw on the UK news anyway. I didn't see anything about it on Sky News. I didn't see anything about it on BBC, ITV, Channel 4, all the main, because you dip in and out of these quite a lot, because obviously I start getting interested in what's going on in the world. And, perhaps it has come out, perhaps I missed it, but my goodness, we don't get the message, do we? So what does this mean? Because that was quite a strong vision to me. And I felt quite a strong intensity to this. So I think this shock, because I wrote down shock coming out of Washington. That's what I wrote down on the piece of paper, shock coming out of Washington. I wrote it down. That's why I'm looking down. I got my note here from it. And I thought, blimey, what is that? So this is going to be enormous, I think. And do you remember at the beginning of the year, I did say that I said it's I saw a symbol of the burning justice scales and things like this, and salamanders and things. I can't remember what I said now, but it was all about there was going to be a huge legal challenges all through this year, 2025. Well, this is actual legal challenges and so forth that are going to completely question the whole nature of American democracy. Or could you look the other side? Is this a smoke screen as well to cover up evidence that could be there in the Epstein files that people want to distract attention from? Quite often things are released if you want to take people's attention off something else. Is there more damning evidence in the Epstein files that could condemn everybody, both the Republican side and the Democrat side? You can never know where you are with politics, do you? You can never see what you can see. What you see with your eyes is often wrong. And what I see coming is I see a huge amount of public unrest, basically, from this. I'm seeing another, not a storming of the White House type of thing, but I'm seeing something on quite a big scale happening in America, and also in the UK, and also in Europe as well. There's some real tensions bubbling under the surface at the moment, and the mainstream news are just closing their eyes to it, and it worries me. So I'm seeing that. So one of my predictions is we've got major social unrest ahead coming soon in the next few months. Some of the other things that I feel as well, I think, on the Epstein files, they've kind of keep suppressing it. I see it will be released in time. It will be released, the Epstein files information. There is an Epstein file. Everybody's covering everything up in directions at the moment on all sides of the political agenda. Nobody really wants that released because everybody's name could be blackened. But it will eventually be released, I feel, and it will be. And I felt it still felt to me like it's going down the line a bit further towards the end of the first of this term of Trump's presidency. I feel it's still a bit time to go, but it will be there. It will be released. And we thought it was almost going to be released the other day, didn't we? It looked like it was all going to be released, and then there is no file anyway. So that's one of the things on the agenda at the moment. Here in the UK, it's already kind of news that there's a lot of discontent. And I have been saying this for some time before it started blowing up recently, and I've been saying it for a long time back. But I do see riots in the UK very soon, and I see a hotel on fire. And I also had I also feeling it could also be a mosque. I feel a mosque and a hotel could be both. I see fires, and we are kind of already anticipating potential riots here in the UK, because I don't know what you get in America, for example, of what goes on in the UK, but the police have actually been bussing in different types of protesters who are pro-immigration and putting them in the same crowd. Bring police protection, bringing in pro-immigration protesters. It seems madness. It's like throwing a catalyst or petrol onto the fire. All it can do is increase tensions. So perhaps it doesn't take a psychic to tell you this, but I have been saying it for a long time, that there's going to be some quite serious riots in the UK. Ordinary people are getting very upset about the fact that nobody is listening about the way our society is being undermined by too much immigration. I mean, Britain used to have an excellent immigration policy. We used to be able to integrate everybody that came here. Many of the people that came generations ago are really important citizens in our world and major roles in everybody's life, and just like anybody else. But when you bring in thousands and millions of people from places like Sudan and Iran and Afghanistan and countries that are completely unintegratable with our culture, certainly on a large scale, and the ordinary populace are getting fed up with it, then what do you expect except tension? And it's beginning to boil. It's beginning to boil because everybody's closing their eyes to it. Another prediction for ahead is I see another submarine issue. Now, I mentioned this some time ago about a submarine problem that could trigger problems in Taiwan. So is this what I'm getting with this? It's like today's images I've been getting have been kind of dreamlike almost, because I'm not getting enough sleep. But I'm getting these dreamlike images. So I had this vision of submarines again. Something ahead soon with submarines, right? So something ahead soon with submarines that concerns me. Maybe it's a problem on a submarine. Maybe it's two submarines hitting each other with too close maneuvers to each other. Maybe there's some other issue, but there's something about submarines, and that's as much as I can get with that one. And I also, with all this electricity business again, going back to that original one, I also had a feeling that there's going to be a new form of battery technology announced very soon. Within months again, it's not going to be long. I see a new form of battery technology, which is going to revolutionize the way we make batteries, which would be very, very important, because if you were to when you buy electric cars nowadays, if you buy a new car, that's great, but its resale value is very low because the cost of the batteries is so high. So I'm seeing some new battery technology, and it has, I've mentioned this once before actually, but so I'm feeling it's imminent, and it has something to do with water. I don't know whether you know, you can break water up into hydrogen and oxygen. Maybe there's something like that, but it seems to have more of an electrical feel to it. Have they found something somewhere? Has someone discovered something, ionization of water or something like that? But I feel as if there's a new battery technology. And also Harry and Meghan, who have had some dismal failures at the moment with their Netflix shows. And already it's been, I think, I don't know if been released or not, but they doesn't look like they're going to get any of their Netflix contracts renewed. But I do see nonetheless, almost as if to mask all this, a big announcement of a big new thing they're doing. It's going to be a big new care for the people sort of nonsense again, a sort of we'll mother you, we are the people to look after you sort of thing. It has, I felt something really sickly. I mean, bound to get that from them, but it felt really sort of sickly sweet type of thing, which is only about their own personal kudos. Meanwhile, I feel in the background, I really do feel, and I felt this for a long time, I really do feel Harry is going through complete shifts in his consciousness. I've said that they'll get divorced in due course. I really think it will come along eventually. Probably going to be a long process, but I feel they're on the way in many ways. I feel a very desolate man there at the moment, and really split in his mindset about what he wants to do. And I think he's beginning to see the illusionary nature of what they've been doing, and does hanker to come home and see his father, particularly as his father gets more ill. And I'm sure there's lots of information in the background that none of us know about family issues and illnesses in the family and things like this. And their inability to be able to share anything with him because he blabs it straight away. But I feel as if there might be some moves for Harry to want to come to England soon on his own. And this is something that's perhaps not actually announced in the press or anything. I feel I sneak in to see his father, or they meets his father somehow, just him, maybe on a tour or something like that. Something happens like that. So I'm feeling that this also seems to indicate, and I feel that the press will pick up on the tensions again between Harry and Meghan, and these Meghan's crazy sort of, you know, ha ha ha, look at me, I make jam, you know, and that's as if that's something to great, you know. Okay, so those are my main thoughts for today. A few thoughts about predictions coming up. You can only make so many per week without spoiling it, really. I don't want to give you just lists and lists of things that are coming up, but there's some of the main things that I felt coming up, making these predictions today on the 24th of July 2025. So in this part of the show, I want to talk to you a bit about some of the predictions that have been made about the world and how they are already kind of coming true. Some of the things that have been said from the ancient texts of India, particularly the Puranas, and I can tell you a few thoughts about that. And I'm doing this partly as an introduction to some of the new things that are going to be coming up on the site in due course, because as you know, I'm very, very interested in the NAADIs. I've been doing a lot of research on the NAADIs through my life. And I'm also in connection with Dr. Q, who offers NAADI readings for people. You can see them on my website if you want to contact me about getting your own personal NAADI. Well, mind you, there's a long waiting list, mind you, now, nearly a year, I think, but it's quicker through me if you do it through me. And anyway, we've got, we've been tracking down a few more NAADIs. I've been doing some independent research to this as well, and been consulting a Jiva NAADI recently. These are the blank leaves that write the words onto it, and some shocking revelations come through that sometimes. But we've got we're in a position where we may be able to do, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do, a regular NAADI prediction on this channel, coming directly from the rishis of old. Okay. So that's something exciting for you to look forward to, and it will be very interesting. Okay, but that's in the pipeline. But I want to talk to you today a bit about these ancient Indian predictions, which were also picked up I believe, by the ancient Greeks as well. And also, you can find echoes of it in many, many cultures. You can find echoes of some of it in things like alchemy, for example. And I've spotted it in the Egyptian texts and things like that. And the ancient oracles of Delphi, I think, are all connected to these ancient seers called the rishis, who we don't know historically how long ago they lived. We feel they could be pre the last ice age, and these leaves, these things were written down and copied and recopied every 500 years. 500-year-old leaves were rewritten and then rewritten. We seem to think that the leaves that we get are about 500 years old. But there's also some traditional Indian texts that talk about the age we live in now as being the age of Kali Yuga. And it's especially in the Bhagavata Purana, the Vishnu Purana, and the Linga Purana, which all contain really eerily relevant predictions that appear to align with things happening today, including things like mass migration, political corruption, economic collapse, and even we might interpret some of the things in it as artificial intelligence that's hinted at, and advanced technology. And this is being written thousands of years ago and being recopied from times thousands of years before that, we believe. The ancient rishis cracked how to see through time. They put their brain into some form of quantum consciousness. And what would have appeared like to them today's world? One of the things they said in it, in almost with shock, it's almost written in there, that women will abandon modesty and desire independence in a time when it was quite different. This was all written in the ancient texts. There's quite a few texts I've already said, but there's women will desire independence is one of the things, right? And it's got many modern echoes there, hasn't it? Feminism, sexual autonomy, gender role shifts that are happening in the world. And some see this as liberation and others view it as a moral decline shown in the ancient teachings. It depends on your perspective, of course. But has it turned into a moral decline? Has it gone to the point, instead of empowering women, we've got to the point it's gone so far that maybe some of it now disempowers women? It's very hard for women nowadays to be just a mum and see that as being a great achievement. I think one of the greatest things a person can do in life can be a mother. I mean, I was a mother. Yeah, no, not transgender one. I was a mother because I was a single parent. I brought a baby up from she was 9 months old she was when I had her, and I brought her right the way up through to the age of 11. And it was I met Jane later. So that was all in my life too, and so I thought a lot about this. It's very hard just a person to be a mother. I couldn't have been just a mother. I had to work as well. And so the roles have moved in a way that I don't think empower women for what really some of the most important spiritual things a woman can do. I mean, some of you are going to hate this, but, has it gone too far? Has all this transgender business got completely out of control? And that destroys the women's role. And similarly, where it goes so extreme with the gay stuff, the people that have become well integrated into the society, who have, I'm a spiritualist, and most of the mediums in spiritualism are gay, which is fine. And I was sat in gay circles and where we developed our mediumship and so forth, and that's fine. But then everybody was integrated and friends, and it was good. But now it's all become out of control, where we have to have marches and we have to have police cars painted pink or whatever. I don't think that does anybody any good, and I think it turns it into something that, instead of just saying, hey, this is ordinary, here we are, you're all set up, it's all fine, you're normal members of society like the rest of us, with no more of this prejudice, and it turns people against each other. So were they saying things that this was not quite right for the world the way it was going? I don't know. That's a pretty heavy agenda, some of the things I've said there. Let's have some of your comments. And another one, they said that food would be consumed very quickly without purity. Now, were they predicting takeaway food for example, the terrible way we eat nowadays, the food will be eaten impure without ritual, they said, because you normally would say a mantra before you eat your meals in India. And similarly, one would here in the West would have thank God for the food and pray over the food before you eat it. That gives it good energy. It makes it sattwic. It purifies it. But no, we just now, we eat a pizza as we're walking down the street and have a kebab and so forth. So also that has, it seems in the ancient texts that takeaway food seems to have been predicted. The modern echoes of fast food, processed meals, meals regarded without any ritual, for example, just mindless eating. And surely one of the greatest causes of cancer and problems of health that the humankind has ever seen. Another one that you can find in there, and in the Bhashivya Purana, I think it's pronounced. Bhashvaya, I think it's pronounced. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's one of the Puranas. Talks about stones speaking. And I look at that and I think, hey, stones speaking. It's like speakers, or it's like inanimate things speaking, like me speaking to you now through an inanimate machine. Could this have been a prediction of phones? Could it have been a prediction of Bluetooth speakers, smart devices, AI voice assisted things? Inanimate stones now speak. And could have this been a prediction of artificial intelligence, stones that speak to us? And, amazing when you think about it, where these guys were seeing all this. In the NAADIs, they talk about things like the cart on long tracks that goes at high speeds, right? Trains, right? Machines that fly in the air, aeroplanes. And then if you look into some of the ancient texts as well, like the Ramayana, you hear stories about floating cities and things like this. What things did they see? Were there other things that were in our world those many, many centuries ago, 10,000 years ago? Or whatever, maybe we had some connection with the Nagas, the space people, all kind of hinted there. So where were they getting this information about the future? It's predicted also for this age we live in, rulers will be thieves and corrupt. Oh, that doesn't apply to any of our politicians. That doesn't apply surely to any of our business leaders or any of the leaders of any industry, even charities. No, the corruption has become endemic, hasn't it? And it's throughout. It's in the Vishnu Purana, that and others. So this hints again, doesn't it not, that the widespread political corruption, the broken justice systems we're in, the abuse of power that goes on by elected officials and bureaucrats. And another one it said is the rich will be considered virtuous, not the wise. So the virtue is by being rich. If you're rich, we'll open the door for you. A wise old lady comes in who doesn't have much money, we shut the door on her. Wealth has become the dominant factor in our world. We don't value people who have good human values, do we? We don't value people who are virtuous as such. We don't value honesty. Honest people are mugs. They're going to be taken advantage of, It's the rich, it's making the money, it's greed that's important, not wisdom. This is another sign of the dark age. And surely that is with us now, isn't it? The modern echoes of wealth, that's with wealth giving us status, for example, and ethical or spiritual values take a back seat to material success. So, and then the next one, another one. These aren't all of them, but these are some of the main ones I've highlighted here. Marriage will be for pleasure, not for dharma. Dharma being like the way, the truth, the spiritual path. And people marry now for pleasure. They marry. Look at Love Island that we have on the TV and things like that. Where's the love in that? Where's the possible good marriages coming out of that? It's encouraged. These sort of things are encouraged. And I don't want to be prudish, and I know it's a bit of fun and it's meant to be a bit of a laugh, but at the same time, those things unconsciously are becoming more and more the way. Kids are brought up on extreme pornography and think that that's supposed to be what relationships are all about. Very, very few people are able to sort of make a good marriage, because they're basing it all on things that are going to fade away, not on things that last, which is spirituality, which is dharma. If you want to be happy in a marriage and you want to be happy in your life, you need to follow the path of dharma. You need to follow the path of truth and love and light that brings you to the enlightenment, not the shallow things. And again, the great rishis were looking at this and thinking, what was going on in this future world? And it also says religious leaders will be hypocrites. And that could be me. It could be any of you. There's lots of people out there, isn't there, that spout all the wrong dark stuff. And even the gurus in the age of Kali Yuga can become corrupted. And don't we know of many of them out there too? People who start off perhaps being very spiritually good and genuinely good people, and then tumble and fall to the disappointment of all their devotees who have put their trust in them. And who hear it time and time again. And it's in the Bhagavata Purana, that one, and many others. The idea that this age will be full of false gurus, monetized spirituality, mega rich religious leaders preaching virtue while living lavishly. I mean, that's all there. And I could even be put guilty as that, because I'm making a living from this as opposed to doing it for nothing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the same all around. It's the age of Kali Yuga. It's the age where spirituality has to take a back seat. It seems like materialism is at the front. And another one is migration. It seems to point out people will migrate in search of food and safety. It talks about there. People will abandon villages due to famine and danger, it says. Could this be people abandoning the villages of Africa, of Afghanistan, of the Middle East, of India, of wherever around the world, and then migrating? And this has become another one of the serious problems of the world, the modern days problems of mass migration due to war, climate change, political oppression, and economic collapse, refugee crisis we have everywhere across the whole globe. This is another sign of the dark age of Kali Yuga. And could there also be indicated in their economic collapse and famine, because this is also spoken about in the Linga Purana and the Vishnu Purana, that crops will fail, rain will not come on time, trade will become dishonest, it says. It talks about ahead a period of great famine. Could that also be something yet to come, because we're beginning to see the potential of major collapses in environmental structures as wheat perhaps could fail? Imagine the great dust bowl that happened across America. What would have happened if that is worldwide, if it hits the places like Ukraine's grain harvest being disrupted, other ones, Russian ones perhaps, all around the world? It could collapse very quickly. I've seen it in India when I was there. They said this all used to be rice fields and now it's all dried up. What? And for as far as the eye could see. So there are many hidden problems there of the potential economic and financial collapse hinted in the Puranas. And also artificial intelligence again, and the mind machine. I mean, you could say there's a kind of a symbolic idea there when it says stones will speak. Humans will lose inner wisdom and depend on external devices, is a potential way, as another one that seems to be in there when we interpret it into English. So that AI replace perhaps human thinking, machines guiding daily life, erosion of introspection and spiritual discipline. All these things could be a problem for the world ahead. And some of the seers and psychics interpret this as the beginning of the Manas Yantra Yuga, the age of mind-controlled machines. And people will worship false ideals is another one that's in there too. And again, in the Bhagavata Purana, and it talks about people will pursue profit and prestige, not true dharma. And so all of them are talking about similar things in different texts. Is saying the similar. You think about it. We worship prestige, don't we? We worship celebrities. We worship influencers. We worship billionaires rather than spiritual ideas or dharmic living. All of that's put in the back seat again. And rain will fall at the wrong time is one of the other predictions. And I think we're going to probably see that in the coming weeks as the hot weather moves away and we start to see greater downfalls of rain around the world. But it's already written in there. There will be droughts and there will be floods. The extremes are talked about: climate change, extreme weather events, melting ice caps, unseen rain destroying crops. All these things are hinted at in these texts, which, remember, were 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, some claim, because they've written and rewritten and go back to the ancient pre-India times, you know. And it says in there also, the wise will hide from the world. You know, that's in the Mahabharata. And in the Kali Yuga, the wise will retreat and the forests to the forests and remain silent. I mean, many of the great spiritual thinkers don't talk on YouTube, don't do hide away, you know, because the wise are so misunderstood and even sometimes punished, aren't they? You know, spiritual seekers go inwards. They live off the grid, leaving mainstream society, perhaps, or turning to meditation and inner silence. I mean, often one's temptation, if you are on a spiritual path like any of us, and many of you, I think, watching this program, will think to yourselves, why do I keep speaking out and keep getting such a lot of abuse because I try to speak ideas that seem common sense to me? Why do I bother? You know, why not just retreat? Why not just retire? Why not just spend my last years doing yoga and meditation and finding the bliss of the inner world? Why speak out? And I think the age of Kali Yuga tends to give that tendency in people. But the world needs it, of course, because the good news is that we are going through this. And although some of the texts talk about Kali Yuga being with us for centuries to come, I mean, centuries of it, I think, like, what was his name? Yogananda spoke about, his guru said to him that the age of the Kali Yuga is so dark that we even forget when the end of it's going to be. And he said that what will happen is, in the darkness, it will come. It's close, but it's so dark we've forgotten that it's even coming to its end. And that the age of Kali Yuga is already beginning to fade. It's beginning to fade. And although it seems worse than ever at the moment, and we hear politicians talking about the fact that we live in the most dangerous times of all now that mankind has ever lived in, because of the social unrest in societies, the mix-up of societies, the armaments, and the potential of climate failure, the potential of economic failure, etc., etc., etc. It seems to be bursting, ready to burst. Despite that, that is the point when the turning point comes. The turning point has already come. And as we come to the end, we get these rumbles, as it were, as things begin to change. And I'll be talking about this in future episodes, and particularly, hopefully, getting some live information, as it were, from the rishis of old, because those ancient leaves have not all been opened. And as we open them for each age, we hopefully will be able to get some insight, some wisdom, some predictions about the future that we'll be able to consider on this channel as we open the NAADIs again here on Coffee with Craig. Okay, so look forward to talking to you about that later. Because I've got another gentleman coming in here who also had a humorous sort of vein to him, I've got to say here. And
that was my dad.
And I also, some of the other people today also, I said they like music too, but your dad also was a great lover of music. He's really funny, and he's got really almost wild eyes. I've got to say with him, I can explain this. He talked through his eyes a lot when he speaks to me. I can just feel him looking at me almost and talking through his eyes. Very kind man, quite well read. Was he quite a strong man through life, can I say? Because I feel I've got a good physical body. Obviously, when you're getting ill and that is different, but I feel in his life he kept himself fit and strong and healthy as he could. And I don't know, he goes like that with my thumb, like that on my nose. Is that something he used to sort of do to people? Was that a habit?
Yes.
Yeah, but you get your thumb go like that. Right? Why does he get 2 rings on Mum's finger?
She lost her first wedding ring.
Okay, that's why. So that's where it comes from. 2 rings on Mum. I married her twice, like marrying her twice. It's just something significant that couldn't apply to anybody else, right? And he just that's why he wants to come to Mum. And He loves her a great deal, and she's suffering at the moment, I've got to say.
Yeah.
She's going through the wars, he says to me. But she's a very strong fighting lady, I've got to say. And she's got some
Yes.
time in her left yet. And you've been tremendously good to her, because he's saying how kind you've been to her of late. You've made incredible sacrifices just of recently, I feel, because it's been such a tough time for you. Okay. We dress a little bit unusually then. Okay, perhaps that's what it is, because I've not seen it all. And he liked the music, because that's what he said first off. It would have been, yeah, it'd been great. I've actually had one reading I did for someone once, and the person came through as an elf, dressed as Elvis, and he was actually in life an Elvis impersonator. Maybe
They were Elvis fans.
someone showed me as a fisherman, all in waders and things like that. Am I with you, Christy? Got you.
It might be. My stepdad was a fisherman.
Okay, because he would have wore the gear. I mean,
Yes.
the waders and things like that. And I'm not sure if I'm in a river or I'm at sea, but I feel that I'm probably doing both with him. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Was he a very, very witty sort of man, can I say? Because I
Yeah.
feel I'm sort of jumping from one joke to another, I feel, when he's talking to you, right?
Yeah, he had quite a dry sense of
Quite a
humour.
dry. And did he get troubles with his voice box or something towards the end? Because I feel I've got a hoarse voice with me here.
He had cancer and he kind of
Did it affect his
deteriorated. And
throat? So obviously not an easy passing, I feel.
no, definitely not.
Because
No.
a witty, strong man being ground down, which it does for so many, and it's
Yes.
awful, isn't it? But he says, I'm all right now. And he's got very bright eyes. I think he's trying to show me he's got blue eyes. Would that be
Yes,
correct?
yes, he did.
There's
Yes,
distinctive
yeah.
blue eyes with him.
Yes.
And I feel he could muck around with the kids too, like when you put a bit of string through your ear like this.
Yes.
And make your eyes
Yeah.
go. He had a lot of rude jokes too, but I'm not going to repeat those because he's given me a whole repertoire. Somebody, I mean, talking about boats and things, is someone going on a cruise soon?
Me and my mum was meant to go on a cruise and it got cancelled.
Okay, because he's talking about the cruise. Okay.
Yeah, it got cancelled, yes.
Okay. But I think it's going to flip round and be back again. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Give it with extras. Your mum, was she all het up about the idea of going too? Because she was sort of worried about going to sea?
Yes, that's correct.
Because
Yeah, she was
I don't know
quite
whether
glad it got cancelled.
the fishermen in the family sort of thing said it's unlucky for women to go to sea, you know, sort of thing. All right. Who's Martin?
Martin? He used to work with someone called Martin.
I don't think I think it's related to something. No, Martin. The Martin he worked for was a very skinny man, wasn't he?
Yes.
He'd hide behind a blade of grass. He'd say to him, "That's the Martin." No, it's somebody else. Yeah, Martin had buck teeth too, didn't he?
Yes, he did actually, yeah.
Because you want 2 houses, he says to me.
We're talking about that today, yeah.
Okay, you were talking about that today. Okay, I don't know. You've been watching these programs that Jane watches, then have you? Ones where they buy houses overseas and things like that. Because I get a feeling I get this feeling I want to say 2 houses will be yours in time.
Oh, okay.
I do take his love. I haven't heard his name. It's a short name.
Yes.
Is it Joe or
His
Bill?
last name was Jones, Bob Jones.
His last name was Joan.
Yeah, Jones, yeah.
But his first name, I don't know. Billy? No, I think
Bob.
Oh, I've got the B though. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got his surname. All right, but I'm not going to get his Christian name. All right. But
Thank you.
I think the lady's trying to tell me that her name's Mary, but there might have been an Elizabeth with her, or a sister or family connection with that name Elizabeth with me as well. And she's telling me she had I'm getting the feeling, I think it's Mary she's trying, and she's given me problems with skin problems. And I think it may have been a rash that she would have got as well, somewhere, because she's given me the feeling that I've got a rash of some sort on my body. It may have been on my face sometimes, but not always. But I'm getting this feeling that I had some difficulties with skin. I feel like I'm itchy with her.
Pictures on the wall, if you want to see her picture, the Mary who's dead. Her picture's on the wall. Will I show it to you in case that's the Mary?
Oh, well, you don't need. Okay.
Telling you her stuff. Is this the woman you're talking to?
The woman I've got, it gives me the feeling of being very beautiful. Did her hair go white towards the end?
Yeah, that's her.
And
I
did
have
she
her
still
picture.
keep it kind of like fairly bunchy? Because I'm getting quite, I could still tie it when I was an older lady.
That's correct. She did that all the time.
And was she a lady that was also, can I say, very into animals, but I feel had a reaction to animals in that I feel that I get this, I got that itchiness, something about
Yes,
the
I
skin.
could understand what that is. And that was me around the chin in the last while. I got concerned about it.
Oh,
And
that
she's
was
had
you
animals in
had
her
that.
life.
You've had
And
that condition. Okay, that
I
makes
was
sense.
concerned it was psychologically affecting me for the first time. I have 16 animals in my custody now.
Okay, so the animals connect, and her name is Mary. Who's the Elizabeth?
Elizabeth is her daughter-in-law that lived next door to her house, 2.5 hours drive away.
Okay, but they're related, right?
That's correct.
And with Elizabeth, did she have a? Was there a? Elizabeth's on the spirit side too. She's saying to me here because she's
Yes, there
talking
is.
about someone that had a tragic death that went very quickly.
That's one of her family member, an hour's drive away from her.
Okay, so she died snapped like this. It was like it was a tragic end, like an accident or something like that. She's talking about that was there. Who's the
Yes, that's.
magician? Not magician. She said, am I confusing it? Musician.
Oh, her son keeps talking every time he calls from the Department of Justice, talking about musician every week on the phone.
Can I say with her also, she's saying something to me that in her family, the money came and the money went.
That's what she always told me before she died. God bless
Okay.
her.
Did she like James Joyce or something like
James,
that?
that's right. She used to talk about him the
She
several years
talks
I
about
knew her.
James Joyce to me, yeah. 'Cause she says James Joyce, so we got Ulysses and things like that. Hard books to read. For I would have surprised that she'd read those ones. But so she's must. So Dubliners, she's saying to me. So you've got an
Oh,
Irish.
Jesus, that's where she's from.
But she knew a lot about history, and she loved the stories of history, and you do too. You're very good with historic things, and I feel you doing something historic, something to do with history. I don't know if you've got a part in a play or something to do with history or something like that. I've got a historic part in a play. Does that make sense to you?
That's a statement of fact. I just partook in it. And yes, it's due to come out in public. I don't know how many weeks or.
So you've been in a play about history. It's not Ireland, she says to me. It is Europe, I think I want to say to you. I don't know if it's in France or Germany or something. Is it set?
Maybe that's a follow on with the director and them, but it was in the United States and Texas.
Okay, but it gives me that old style costume drama type of
That's a
film.
statement of
Is it?
fact. It was about a proper year, 70s and
Okay,
80s, what was worn.
okay. She's in the family. Is she mother's side of the family with you?
That's another lady that you see, but this woman's a close friend that I helped wear a buy
The
that her
other
own.
lady is the Katie or Kathy, I think I want to say.
Oh, Jesus, Kathy is living right outside London. She's her sister. She's not well.
Okay, is Kathy the one that's got the chest condition?
Yes, I believe so.
Well, that's where she's going with that. I feel she's sending her love to Kathy. Wants to see Kathy get a bit better soon. All right. I feel that they're working on her on the spirit side, trying to give some healing energy to
Kathy's in a nursing
get
home
well soon.
outside London, bless her.
One other thing. Do you understand a Colin Williams?
Colin
I want to put
Williams.
the name Colin and Williams together. Or Williams.
Colin, yeah, Colin, but not too. Oh, Colin did the plumbing job during the week. Sorry, maybe that's.
What?
Oh my God.
Sorry. So does that make sense? Does his surname William?
That must be his surname, Colin Williams. Yeah,
All right. So they've obviously been watching your home.
yeah. I've been making it
I
up,
mean,
and
I
I've
feel
been
an odd one
thinking.
to be picking up on, right? But
Yeah, I've been making it up, and I've been thinking if I needed to move, because it's crazy time in the world. It's hard to say whether to move and relocate now.
or Josie, could it be? I've got a lady that
I'm sorry. I think you're still with me, the Joyce and the Joe.
you understand. Still with you, am I? Okay.
Yes, if nobody else can take it, I'm sorry to intervene. I
All
know
right,
that.
that's okay. She didn't take her life, did she?
Yes, I was thinking about her earlier during the
She
meditation.
took
God
her own
bless.
life. Okay, so she's just there saying her love's with you. She's helping you from the spirit side too. So take her love. because
God
I felt
bless.
I don't know if I feel around my throat and that like that.
That's correct. You picked it up online weeks ago, as I've been watching you for a period of time online on YouTube. You picked it up, and you picked up about the 5'5" and impending arrest. Very important.
Okay, because I feel it around my throat, like perhaps I've hung myself here. I don't know whether it's
She did 100% correct, Craig.
okay.
I
Yeah,
keep thinking about her regularly.
I just wanted to sort of give her to you as well because she's such a lovely lady in life.
She's a
It's
lovely person. I
madness
think of
that
her regularly.
madness that she took her life, really, but she did, and that was because of this volatile circumstances around her. And that's why, again, I feel stay calm in the complicated and hard situations, right? Anyway, I like to pass her on to you as well and let you know she's there with you as
Wow.
well. Okay, thank
Wow.
you, Joyce. Right, okay. I think I'm going with names again first off. There's somebody here. Hope I'm not with you, Barbara. Someone here giving me the name Colin. Colin.
Yes, that's correct
Oh,
again.
so with you as well still.
Sorry, they are really blazing into you.
Sorry, Barbara. Colin Marshall, was it?
That's right. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Colin Marshall.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm very, you've got very strong energy, Barbara. I can't break from you. Anyway, love from Colin Marshall. So I think it's Colin Marshall they're talking about here, and giving you talking about that. Okay, Colin, you'll have to finish it. We've got others. Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, and a good sense of humor. There's a good sense of humor around that person too, as well. Got to say, and a good writing skills. Okay, let's stop. Okay, we're going to do now something completely different, as they say on Monty Python's. We're going to do a advanced clairvoyance. That is a clairvoyance in advance. Now, we used to do this at Spiritualist Church, where I'd sometimes write something down before I go to take the Spiritualist service. And before I do my demonstration of mediumship, I'd read out from the piece of paper. I've got a message for someone in the audience, and I'd read it out, and someone in the audience would be able to take it, which was fascinating within a spiritualist church. So these things obviously aren't set up because, you don't even know who's going to be there at a spiritualist, not public theatres and things like that. So it was an interesting technique, and spiritualists used to do this quite a lot. And it's quite an interesting way of seeing, proving clairvoyance on a completely different scale. She proves it's not telepathy, you see, for example. And I did one last program, and if you have a look through the comments for the last video, you'll see that it was taken. Every single word of what I said was taken, and some people try to make it fit sometimes. That's understandable sometimes, but when I might give you these advanced clairvoyance, we need to be able to take every single bit of it to guarantee that it is true. Right, you need to be able to take every bit of it. So this is my message today, just to conclude the show on an interesting high note, as it were. So, okay, this is a spirit link, of course, that I'm going to give you now. Now, I was picking up a bit in advance of this as I sat down, but I feel like I want to be talking to somebody has some connection with the name Butler. Butler seems to be the important name for this. And it could be a living person, Butler, I feel. And I felt a K initial with this. So it could be something like Kenneth, or it could be something like, I felt an odd name like Kelvin or something like that. It would be important to the person actually hearing this now. And there's a bit of a problem around the Butler family, and I think particularly with the person with the K initial, because they've not been well, and I feel that they're trying to get through to give you a proof that things will improve. Now, I think it's all still on the same link here, because I'm also hearing about a Margaret and a Joan in spirit, or it might be a Joan. I also am hearing it as, but I think it's Joan, Margaret or Joan, and I want to give the surname Hopkins with this as well. And they're telling me that the family were involved in the clothes industry. There's something to do with the clothes industry here. It may have been manufacturing of clothes. It may have been like big laundries or something like that. There's an industrial feel with it, maybe some form of industrial cleaning, a bit like we had here in Southampton, where was born, where we had the big laundries that used to serve the Cunard liners and things. So there's something like that. It could be associated with something to do with shipping and liners or doing something like that. That would have been a family business. And as I was getting this, I also heard the 1856. And I don't know if that's a date or whether it's a number of a door or something significant, an apartment number or something like that. That number seems to have some significance to it. It might be your PIN number, perhaps. It's something 1856 is associated with this connection as well. And I'm asking them for just one little bit of unusual proof, just to see if we can clinch it completely. And this is a really strange. I asked them for the strangest things you can give me sometimes, just so whoever takes the message can know it is definitely with them. I saw in your house one of those old big black iron kettles. Okay, so that'll probably rule out most people on earth, but I saw one of those big old-fashioned black iron kettles. All right, it seems very, very odd, I know, but if the message is for you, please don't email me. Please just put it in the comments below, because I won't be able to pick up things on this again later. But please, if it is yours and you know for certain that these things fit with you, please put it in the comments below so that others can see that this message has been taken. And I'll do more of these later on, perhaps with a few more than just one or two. We'll do some longer extended ones later on this show. But it's an interesting little experiment doing this in advance clairvoyance. Okay, thank you for joining me. Well, thanks for joining the show today. I hope you enjoyed everything we did. There's been lots of unusual stuff thrown in today to make it a more interesting show for you, with lots of different things for different tastes and things. Some of you like predictions, some of you like to hear me talk, some of you like the clairvoyance. So we try to make it interesting for you and give you something that you can enjoy. And if you've enjoyed the show, please come and have a look at my website. There's lots going on there soon. We're going to be having some real artificial intelligence stuff on there in due course, where you can also come up and you can book readings. You can also book the online Zoom group readings as well with me, if you enjoyed watching that part of the show today as well. Okay, thanks for supporting the show. Don't forget that thumbs up, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now. If you look back at my earlier predictions, and in particular the predictions I made on the newspaper, The Sun's website, I did actually say on there, the actual words were, there will be a flu epidemic linked to bioterrorism. And my thoughts are that Liz Truss will make it to the final, be the next PM. I think she will actually have a final battle between her and Rishi Sunak. We've not seen the full end of Boris Johnson either, I tell you. But Rishi Sunak actually will eventually, I feel, be the next leader of the Conservatives. So I think there's going to be a few conflicts that Britain's going to be drawn into, including I think Russia is going to take some moves against Ukraine. I think she will make it past her platinum jubilee, which comes up this year. But I think after that, we'll see a sudden and quick deterioration in the Queen's health. And I think we might lose the Queen towards the end of 2022. There's going to be a huge backlash from over the Netflix programs and screening, because I feel it comes out at a bad time. Charles will come to become King Charles, But his reign, I feel, will be short.
I said that Prince Charles would be hit by an egg. And of course, there it is, all in the press today. Marvellous person she is. She does something extraordinary that could even put her life a little bit at risk with the way she did this. Okay.
Is there something also there that's not being spoken about fully? Did they also discover something with Kate that wasn't quite right?
A huge swarm of people knocking the doors of Europe and America. And I feel that Ukraine conflict is going to be a kind of a grinding conflict that goes on and on. I also feel that there's something going to happen in the Middle East as well. I feel as if there's going to be a sudden and unexpected thing happen in the Middle East. So I feel they're going to take it into their own hands, and I feel we're going to get a strike from Israel. This is going to be one of the significant things in 2023.
I've said it before and I say it again. I feel Israel, with the help from the USA, will strike the Iranian nuclear facilities.
I said that there would be an earthquake that would shake New York.
At this time, I've been sensing that for a while that there's going to be a big earthquake of some sort. And this could well come up during April period.
I'm seeing a bridge collapsing, actually the whole infrastructure of it going.
I predict something very dark happens to President Joe Biden. He's been pulled from power, sacked, as it were, and quite close to the election time. But I kind of sense it's more to do with illness, perhaps, senility, and people stopping him because of that. So it could even be that a new candidate will run for the presidential nominee. I predict that Trump will win the November 2024 election. And I feel very strongly that the black vote is going to move towards Trump. See him as a sort of a bit of a cool guy. I can't see Trump being put in jail despite what they're throwing at him. I can't see a jail sentence with him. But I get the feeling one of the candidates has an attempt on the candidate's life. Could there have been a plan to assassinate either him or Trump, perhaps? There's going to be an assassination attempt on Trump, I think. That will fail, but he might maybe get wounded or something like that. A hit or attack on our airplanes, on passenger flights or even freight flights. Because I also had at the similar time, I was also seeing this image of helicopters on fire as well.
I seem to see like the west of America on fire and the east of America underwater, huge winds. And I actually saw, just like we had a major problem here in the UK where a tower block went up on fire, I see a tower block deserted